Have you always dreamt of having that absolute must mansion with a pool? Maybe you've dreamt of having a McLaren or a Tesla or some other car that you absolutely aspire to have and show off. Well, I'm going to be teaching you guys in this video how you can have the dream that you have always wanted just by, in fact, averaging into a long-term investment of just as little as £100 every single week, which will turn into a total of £2.3 million over the course of several years. So stick around, you are going to want to see this video to the end. Make sure not to skip a second. Hey everyone, and welcome into today's video. My name is Jason, and perhaps you are a new investor out there or someone that has just clicked on my channel for the first time. Well, in today's video, we are going to be going through how you could potentially turn a £100 weekly investment over the course of several years into £2.3 million in the stock market, which is absolutely insane. And this is at a compounded interest return rate of 10%, which typically is the average of the S&P 500. And the S&P 500 is the top 500 performing companies in the US index. So if we were to take that average return in the stock market, which is an annual rate of 10.9%, and we were to compound that over the course of 40 years by putting in a weekly investment of £100, we would actually get over £2.3 million. Now, if we round it down to 10%, which is not even the S&P 500's estimate, we would actually reach £2,224,000 as a return after a 40-year. Now, of course, this price is give and take a little bit due to inflation and all of those other factors that may play a part over the course of a 40-year period. But it still stands, guys, that compounding interest is one of the best ways to make a return on your money. And there has never been an easier time to invest. There has never been so many apps around that allow us to have a wealth of knowledge, the internet, where we can learn exactly where to put our money. So I'm going to be talking to you guys today in this video about the top 6 steps that I have done to, in fact, capitalize and start to grow this compounded rate of return, and how I plan to make over £2.5 million over the course of the next few decades ahead. So stick around, make sure that if you do find this content valuable, then be sure to go down there, smash that like button for me and turn it into a beautiful blue, and I would love to have you on this beautiful journey where we can make money together. So go down there and turn that red subscribe button on, and you will be notified every time that I make a new video if you turn on the notification bell. So I want to talk to you guys about step number 1, which brings me to saving money. So how, in fact, can we make more money from the daily activities that we are doing in our life? Well, if there are things that you are potentially buying, and say every time you get a new phone contract you want to upgrade your phone, well, it's those little things, guys, that you could in fact be putting away into the stock market. In fact, if you don't need to upgrade your phone, or you don't need those luxury items that you think are a want and they are not a need, then again, that money could be potentially used to, in fact, grow you an average compounded rate of 10% in the stock market if you were literally just to put it in, say, a Vanguard ETF of the S&P 500 index. So it's about saving money, guys, where you can. Obviously, that is where you are going to then start to make those returns if you were to invest that money instead into the stock market. I want to talk about step number 2. Step number 2, guys, is the emergency fund. You always want to make sure that you, in fact, have some kind of emergency fund, whether that be for 3 or 6 months, because we never know what is going to happen in the future. Look at what just happened over the course of the last 12 months. We had the Rona, and it absolutely decimated the globe. So we know that obviously we need to have some kind of backup plan. In fact, if our car was to break down, if something in the house was to break and there was a big leak, or, you know, we needed the money because we lost our job or something happened. So you always want to make sure that you can pay your rent 3 months in advance, so you have some kind of emergency fund. Because if you were to have that money in the stock market and it was not in a bank account or a savings account, then again, you'd have to draw from your investments. And if, of course, it was in the stock market and those investments were not quite performing up to scratch that month, then again, you would be losing money by taking those investments out. You always want to focus on the long-term aspects, in my opinion, because that is where you are going to see that great growth of compounded interest. So it is worth noting again, guys, that if you were to put away £100 every single week for the course of 40 years, you could end up with £2.3 million. So this brings me on to step number 3, and that is to gain knowledge. You want to gain as much knowledge as you can on the stock market. So rather than every single evening sitting down and watching something like Netflix, again, why don't you pick up a book for just 15 to 20 minutes to say and start reading on how to invest? There are so many books out there, books by Tony Robbins. There is The Intelligent Investor by Warren Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all time. Cathie Wood, one of the legendary investors of the 21st century, someone that I follow extremely closely, has all of her topics online at arkinvest.com, and she is absolutely amazing for showing her thoughts on disruptive innovation stocks that she is currently investing in, because she sees the future as artificial intelligence, robotics. We've also got energy storage, genomic sequencing, which is the DNA sequence of the human body, and how we are going to in fact cure diseases. And I have lots of videos on all of these topics, guys, on my channel, so be sure to have a click through and have a look at some of these videos, because they are very impressive, and some of the technologies that are emerging right now are absolutely amazing, and we are never going to get a better time to in fact invest into these innovation companies moving into the next decade. So once you have gained knowledge, guys, again, use Google. Google is your best friend. So rather than watching that Netflix, go on to Google and type in how to start a side hustle in 2021 or 2022, say. And so, guys, step number 4 that I want to tell you about is to in fact build a side hustle. Why don't you build a side hustle where in fact you are leveraging your time to make a passive income? Perhaps you are someone that is like me, that you love making content and you are a content creator. Why not start a YouTube channel on something that you are passionate about? People love learning, and I'm sure that you are good at something that you could share with someone else, that someone else wants to learn from. So why not start something like a YouTube channel where you can make a passive income? Or perhaps you are someone else that wants to make a side hustle, so why not start a business on dropshipping or Amazon FBA, where in fact you pay for products to be shipped from, say, China, and again you sell them online. There are so many ways, guys, to in fact supplement a new income by starting a side hustle, even becoming a side travel agent. I know so many friends that are doing this right now, and they are making a killing every single month, because in fact they are working as an additional side hustle to create that extra leverage that they can then return that money into the stock market to create future wealth so they can retire early. I started an Amazon FBA business last year, and I have to say it is absolutely incredible to know that I in fact now have a product on the market that is 24/7 generating me a passive income. So guys, there are so many resources out there. The internet is your best friend. You want to use obviously YouTube, use Google. That is where you can learn. If you spend most of your time obviously outside of where you're working, then again, even if you just spend half an hour a day learning about these side hustles, you will in fact start to realize how in fact you can piece together and make a supplement of income around your existing job. Which brings me to step number 5, which is to be consistent. It's really important, guys, to be consistent, because in fact if you were to interrupt that compounded rate of average of £400 every single month, and in fact you were to just leave it for 3 months where you didn't put any money in because you were spending money on partying or other things, then again you're not going to see that big compounded interest over the course of a few decades. So you always want to make sure, guys, that by staying obviously consistent, you are in fact going to see that long-term wealth build up, and again that is going to allow you to potentially get that lovely house that you've always dreamed of, or potentially that car, that luxury car, maybe it's a Tesla or a Neo, something obviously that you aspire to have. And this brings me on to my last subject, which is tip number 6, and that is to have the mindset of a long-term investor. You guys want to make sure that you are in this for the long game. Just like I had said about all these other tips, it is about being consistent, and it is obviously about growing your wealth over time. And a great quote that I read from a great investor once upon a time was of course Seth Klarman, who said, "The single greatest edge an investor can have is a long-term orientation." So like all things, guys, you have to have that long-term mindset. It's not about seeing those gains immediately by putting your money in and expecting a 2x or a 3x return on your investments in the same week. That is just not how the stock market goes. And if you are wanting those returns, then maybe obviously you are a gambler and you should be spending more time in Vegas gambling at a poker table, because that is where you might see that quick return for your buck. But it is a gamble, guys, and there is no guarantee that you are in fact going to keep those profits, and you could lose all of your money in a single move. So that is what we have to do, guys, in the stock market to in fact get to that leverage of 2.3 million. We have to stay consistent, we have to work hard, we have to have an emergency fund, we have to learn obviously how to have those side hustles, and again we have to make sure we are saving money every single month by making sure we are cutting back on those small things that will make a difference in the long run, so that we can in fact focus on investing in the long term to get that compounded rate of interest. And then we will achieve our dreams. We can retire early and we can have that mansion that we always have dreamt of. So guys, if you did enjoy this video today and you enjoyed me sharing all of this knowledge with you, then consider going down there if you haven't already, hitting that like button, and obviously joining this family of investors by smashing that subscribe button. It's free and you'll never miss an episode. If you would like to know what stocks I am invested in and you would like access to my private buy and sell alerts, I do have a Patreon page which is for £4 a month. It is just the price of a coffee with limited slots. And again, I do post all of my buy and sell alerts on there daily, so you can in fact follow what I am investing in the stock market. Or if you are someone that wants to know just more about individual stocks, then perhaps have a binge on my channel, because I have plenty of useful information on many of the top stocks right now that I am watching for a very, very long term high return on my money of more than 10% per year. Some of these stocks I'm expecting to double over the next 12 months. So perhaps you are someone that is interested in that, then be sure to check out some of the videos I will leave at the end here. So guys, that wraps up this video. Stay safe, stay green, and stay positive, as I say out there. My name is Jason. I hope you have a fantastic week ahead, and I look forward to seeing you guys back on my channel soon for some more content on investing. Ciao.